You alive? I'm alive. Hello, Facebook. How are you? I always have to scroll down and read what I've just written. This is so much more than dry January. Tonight, you're going to meet my five pals. You're going to find out my plan to motivate you to achieve your own sober goal, which, by the way, might not even be to be sober. Can you believe that? Hang on a minute, Claire, what are you on about? Yeah, I can concentrate better with these in. Right, bear with us. So, imagine your sober goal is to create an online business. There's nothing about being sober, like you don't have to be sober forever. Like when I started this, right, when I started on my own journey, on my first day one, I was only starting for 28 days, right? I wasn't going to be sober. So maybe I'm encouraging you to jump too far, right? What I want to do is to take you through the journey that I went on, right? Because this is what's inside the program. The frustrating thing is, you need to know this. You need to know this. You need to know the story that I went on so you can see that it's possible for you too. Because this wasn't, I was sat on the fence between wondering, am I bad enough to quit? That I think that was what kept me stuck for too long. It wasn't that I was trying and failing and then finding myself at the shop drinking a bottle of whatever. It was more that I wasn't quite committed. I hadn't quite decided if it was the right thing for me. But guess what? That's okay. You can still explore it. It's not a tattoo, right? You're allowed to change your mind. Okay? So it's about exploring it and thinking of it a little bit like Slimming World. The Slimming World concept has always been in my mind. The idea that you can, rely on this concept, and then you might put yourself right if you feel like that's what you want to do after Christmas. And then it may be that you go back to your life, and then a few months later you go, right, no, before I go on holiday, I want to go back because I remember how great I felt. I remember how, much I enjoyed getting up in the morning. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do it again and apply it again. I don't want you to feel like, you're signing up to something that's a promise and a massive commitment. It's just exploring life differently. And it's about recognizing that you will find so much energy, focus, and clarity by removing alcohol. You'll be able to achieve any goal that you've got. By being sober for that length of time gives you that time, focus, and energy to apply it to your business, to your relationship, to your health. So it's just a different way of looking at it. But I'm guessing, like many women, you get so far into it that you don't want to give it back. You feel like you've got yourself back, you've got that zest for life and that energy that you had missing. I feel better. I didn't know that I could feel this good. I thought I was removing the alcohol and I was going to get one thing. And it's like I've got 10 things. It's like over delivered, right? Totally over delivered for me in my life. And that's what makes us so excited because I feel as if this isn't the hard choice. By not choosing this, you're choosing the hard choice in every aspect. Because what you've tried so far maybe hasn't worked. And I didn't want to identify myself as an alcoholic. I didn't. And if you do, that's absolutely fine. That's up to you. But for me, it wasn't for me. I went along and I broke my heart because I didn't like the idea that somebody was saying that that's their badge and they're taking it. I wanted to put my arms around them and see I'm more than that. Which is why my strapline is so much more than sober. you're more than that. It's just something that you used to do, and now you've learned that you can have so much more without it every day of the week. You're not just looking forward to a Friday night, right? You're looking forward to every day. You wake up feeling brighter, and you're just happier to be around, nicer to spend time with. You remember stuff, you figure out solutions, and you just feel more focused. You can go through with the things that you really want to do, but you keep beating yourself up because you're not applying it or you're not finding the time. So you've done it again every Sunday, and then you feel it's like, oh, everything's great, and then, oh, everything's really bad. And you're doing this. I want to remind you that the symptoms of the perimenopause, which I'm in now, are so similar to a raging hangover. There's about 40 symptoms. I wanted to know my body. I lost my dad, he was only 45, and it felt to me that it was time I started to take responsibility for my health. It was like an age, I think it was about 44, 43, where I just started to look at stuff differently and started to think, well, where am I heading with this? Am I just going to keep doing this? Or is there something else? Is there another way? Is there another thing? Is there something else to do? You know? Because once I started questioning it, and what happened for me, a friend came back in my life, and we'd spent a lot of time, we grew up together really, going out drinking and being on so many holidays together, we've been many beautiful destinations together. I've been to Singapore with her, Thailand, like fantastic, Turkey. And we did a lot of that, like 20s and 30s, drinking, having a good time, beautiful hair extensions and nails. This was what was important to her. She was very glamorous. I loved all that. And then when I met up with her again, none of that was important anymore. And I was, where's my friend gone? She didn't seem inspired by any of that anymore. Wasn't bothered. And the more time I spent with her, it broke my heart because, I don't know, it was just, I couldn't get to her, and I just felt I wanted to write down everything I loved about my life, because I thought, do you forget? Is that what happens? Do you just forget who you are? How does that work? I loved my life. I loved my life, and I loved having a drink. I loved that, and it felt like I was giving something up, if I'm honest. But I tried to approach it in a different way, to think, well, what can I have instead? I mean, it felt like being Captain Sensible at first. It really did. And, there were benefits that came with that. I just felt more organised, and I've had a bit of pride in myself that I was sticking to a plan, and I just started getting all of the things off my to-do list and just thinking carefully about what I wanted. I was running a business that didn't light me up. I chose that business 10 years earlier. I was somebody completely different with a different stage of life that didn't want to do that anymore. But it was working. It was a success from the outside. But that didn't mean that I had to keep doing it. I wanted something else, and I had to take time to think, well, what is it that I wanted? And my friend, at the time, she had been to a recovery centre. That was part of her journey. I mean, it didn't work for her. But I decided to go along there, and I wanted to do some voluntary work. So I spent a lot of time there, and it really inspired me. They offered me a job, and it was really hard. I refused it because I knew I wanted to work with people, but I knew I wanted to make up the rules. I wanted it to be my way. I knew that. I knew that I had too much to say about it, that I wouldn't have fit very neatly into the box. So I said, no, thank you. And it was really hard to volunteer after I had been offered the job and refused it. But I had got what I needed from it. I had met so many people, amazing, inspirational people, who were still turning up and volunteering there, like 8 years, 12 years, years later. And although that made them proud, and that's brilliant, it didn't do it for me. And I knew that it wouldn't do it for other people like me. I knew I needed something different. And I just went on a journey exploring it. What else is there? You can get help to stop smoking, you can get help to stop loads of things, but eating and stuff, but this is a very important thing. You know, we'll give each other birthday cards and we're say like, you know, what you deserve is a glass of wine. We're pushing it on each other without knowing that it's, you know, it really affects your health. Not just your physical health, you with your liver, it's your mental health. And if you're carrying a bit of weight and you're drinking and you're eating something that your body needs to process with the toxins in your liver, if your liver is overloaded and it can't do that, it stores that as fat. You know, and then people get surprised when I show them this is how much sugar is in a bottle of rosé wine. So if you've stopped drinking and you're craving biscuits here now in dry January, like, that's how much sugar you're not having by not having a bottle of wine tonight. So I'd say eat the biscuits, right? Eat the biscuits. And then you can deal with that later, further down the line, because if you can get your sleep pattern right, and if you can get your level of normal to increase, because if you think about it, your tolerance, if you can drink quite a lot, like I could, you know, you drink one bottle of wine, you're not stumbling to bed. You feel, you wouldn't drive, of course you wouldn't, but you feel like okay, you could hold a conversation, you feel like you're absolutely fine. That means your tolerance is really high. So when you remove that, you're going to feel pretty terrible for a few weeks, but eventually your level of normal will improve because you're not carrying all that toxin. Your body isn't waking up every morning with all of that to process while you're tucking into your breakfast. Do you know what I mean? It's like giving your body the chance to help you out, and it takes such a long time and it's such a process that you need to be committed to this. It's not just about, oh well, I'd like to cut down a little bit. That doesn't work. It's addictive. If you have one, you want another one. If you have one on Monday, you're gonna want one. Okay, you might not need one on Tuesday, but on Wednesday you're going to tell yourself it's a good idea. So instead, this is about spending some time away from it to allow yourself the cravings, which then will say, right, what is it that you believe about alcohol? That's what your craving is. You're asking and you're questioning your cravings by giving your body the time to have a craving, or your mind. So you think, well, it's Friday, I have to have a drink because it's Friday. And then you say, well, why? What difference does that make? Well, I'm off on Saturday. So of course I have to make the most of that. Well, no, what about trying that differently? What about waking up early on Saturday morning and seeing the sunrise? Or, I don't know, waking up and doing that thing you've always wanted to do with the kids that you've kind of been promising but you've not got round to? Or just waking up and having a full day ahead of you, just having time to yourself to read a book. There's other ways to look at life, and it is about slowing down and letting yourself feel that discontent, because when you feel that discontent, that's the clue to something that needs to change. I'd normally say you find out what's pissing you off, or you need to feel that discontent so that's every time that happens. And it could be you argue with the other half and you think, I'm drinking so that I can live with him. I'm drinking and that could potentially be, shortening my life. It's messing with my mental health. It's making me feel awful and I'm in such a bad mood and I resent everything. And I'm drinking, which is keeping me here because I don't really like who I live with. And when am I going to realise that I'm in control of this? And maybe if I change myself, things will change. Or not. I'll find the strength to deal with what's in front of me if I put that to one side for a length of time. And that's what happened for me. The stages that I went through. I started off stuck like Susie. I didn't know that the problems in my life could be improved by removing the alcohol in my glass, right? I thought it was the glue that was holding it all together, but by observing, which is the next stage, by observing my friend, I could see that that would be my future. I could see that potentially that could, if you're relying on it, and then you have an extra pressure in your life, you're going to rely on it even more. So it's about having other tools in your box. Really, that's what it's about. And knowing that you are capable of change, because you'll observe other people and you think, well, if they can do it, like I was drinking 100 units a week. 100 units a week. So if I can do it, it's about knowing that you can too. And that alone has worked on my husband. My husband is now 1 year sober. I'm 3 years and he's now 1 year, because of this process. He's watched me, and then he's decided, right, I'm going to be bold. I mean, we've been on a hell of a journey, but I'm going to be bold and I'm going to take action, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is now it's my turn. So what I don't encourage you to do is all start at the same time, because the chances are within a few days you're going to be at a different stage anyway. You might start at a different stage. You might come in with your mindset here, where you've already been bold and you're ready to take action. I mean, my ideal client is here, to be honest, because what I want is, I want sober now what? I want to inspire the people to say, this, you can stop here and you're sober, but this here is when you're engaging in sober life, like Elsie. You're taking action and you're going to the parties and you're trying the alcohol-free alternatives, or you're getting up on Saturday morning and doing something different with your time. You're going to brunch or something rather than going out on a Saturday night. So you're just living in a different world, and you're going to meet different people, and slowly you become rebalanced, like Riley. And at that point, it doesn't really matter. You go to a wedding, it's Christmas, it's your birthday. You just decide, do I want it or not? You're not relying on it. And I think that's where we all really ultimately want to get to when we start on this journey. But when you get here, you never want to risk going back. I mean, this process and doing the program, you can't ever, get unstuck. You can't go back, can you? Once your mind's expanded, you can't go back. So taking those steps, no matter how long it takes, is going to be so valuable in all areas of your life, and it's going to help you inspire everyone that you love as well. So that's my program, and I would really love to invite you all to come tomorrow night. On Wednesday night I do a session, and the idea is then that's your decision time. Do you want to sign up and do the program, and do you want to work with me? I have various different ways we can work together. I have a sober pen pal service. So if you don't really like the idea of being on social media and talking about this, or you're not keen on coming on Zoom, we can do a sober pen pal service if you prefer that. So just step forward and make yourself known to me, and let's arrange to have a chat, either on the phone or on Zoom. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you very much, and I really hope that we'll keep going with this dry January. Anybody who's started it and you're thinking, yeah, maybe I could start thinking about this as a little bit more long term, because the first bit is the hardest. The bigger the number, people clap louder, people applaud you more, but it's the first part that's hard. So if you'll keep doing those first few days, let's look at doing something differently and get you set for sober success. Thank you. Bye from me.